Hello, and welcome to Chemistry Essentials. Today's lesson, periodic trends. Igor, board. Good man, teach.
So when you're dealing with the periodic table of the elements, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 periodic trends that you need to be aware of. There's atomic radius, ionization energy, electronegativity, and electron affinity. So starting with atomic radius, there's something called effective nuclear charge, which is the charge that the nucleus and the protons emit that pull the electrons closer to it. So what you have to know is that as you go down a period, that effective nuclear charge becomes greater, and the amount of electrons, even though it's the same amount as the protons pull the electrons more than the electrons escape. So as you go down this, the radius becomes smaller. And then as you go down a group, the radius becomes bigger because you have more subshells and they're further and further away. Alright, now with this, I can explain the other ones. We have ionization energy, which is the amount of energy it takes to rip electrons off of something and turn it into an ion. Hence, ion energy. Alright, so as you go down a period, again, the electrons are closer, so it's harder to rip them off. So as you go across the period, the ionization energy is going to get bigger and bigger. And then as you go down a group, ionization energy will get smaller because they're further and further away, making them easier to pull off. Alright, now for the two others. There's electronegativity, which is the ability of an element to attract electrons. So the most this is based on a scale that's very arbitrary. It's based on, I think, 0 to 4 or 1 to 4. And the most electronegative is fluorine. So as you go across, electronegativity will increase, and as you go up, electronegativity will increase. So again, fluorine is the most electronegative, and whichever element is most opposite is the least electronegative element. Alright, now for the last one. Electron affinity is the ability of an element to gain electrons. So this is quite opposite to ionization energy. In fact, it actually is the opposite to it. So the halogens, group 7, are going to be the most likely to gain electrons, while the ones over here, like sodium and potassium, are going to want to lose electrons and not want to gain them. So they're going to have the least electron affinity. So why don't we get Tomas over here to come explain the trend of electron affinity graphically.
So, electron affinity increases from the bottom of the periodic table to fluorine. Fluorine is the most electronegative element. Thereby it has the most electron affinity. And that was all for our lesson today. We thank our camera guy, Austin, Igor, our manslave, and good man, the smart guy.
Yo.
Thank you, and see you soon.